What's up, Lollipop? My name is Joe, and in today's video, I want to show you the dynamic island, all the animations. Apple has produced a great little idea with this dynamic island. There are a lot of things that I would change, I would modify, but in this video, I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on all of the animations that you can see from day one. So I'll be introducing all the things that I know, all the applications that work with the dynamic island. There are some third-party apps, but majority of them are the embedded apps that come with the phone installed. First of all, I'd like to introduce the call feature. When we receive a phone call, the dynamic island changes. As you can see, I will make a phone call to myself and the whole island will expand and it shows the caller and we can pick it up. Once I choose to tap into it, it expands into a further bigger place and I can pick it up from here as well. Now it shows that the microphone is going, so we have the microphone notification dot over there. When I close the application, it goes and collapses into a smaller one and even a smaller one where it shows us the call duration and the waveform that is being produced while we are on the call. Once I put down the call, it closes and goes away. The second major implementation is Face ID. So I'll just pop into the App Store over here. I'll download an application. And once I download it, it's going to ask me for my Face ID. And as you can see, I double click and then the whole dynamic island expands, shows me the Face ID symbol, and then it goes back to its place. It's a really cool implementation. I really love this one. It is the same thing when we use Apple Pay. Once I double tapped for Apple Pay, my card comes out, it waits for my Face ID, authenticates, and then goes back in. One of my favorite animations is the airdrop animation. So if I send myself something right now, you can see that it's receiving via airdrop, opens the photo, and then closes back in. We have a brand new charging animation, so if you use MagSafe or a cable, when you plug it in, it uses the whole width of the display to show you that the phone is charging and then collapses back into itself. Then we have the mute switch. So if I put the phone to silent, you see the little bell come up once I do that and it shows that it's silent. And if I turn it off, it comes back and shows that it's on ring, so you'll be able to hear your notifications. A great animation comes from the focus modes. So if you have a focus mode set up at a specific time, for example, I'm going to have my meeting focus set up at 6 o'clock or 6:08. And when we set up this time, for example, 6, and I'll go 08, that's the next minute, and I go, all right, it should switch on at 6:08. And there we have it. It goes on, meeting is on, and once you turn it off, it's going to turn off. You can even see the little icon next to the clock. It's a beautiful little animation and very informative. The next one is if you have shortcuts set up. So every shortcut animation is going to show in the dynamic island. In this case, I'm going to do a QR code from a web page. So I open Siri, I ask her to create a QR code and open from website. And once I set these things in, then she's going to create the QR code and you can see the shortcut animation. It expands into a bigger dynamic island to show what it actually did. The next animation is the hotspot animation. So if you turn your hotspot on when you want to share your data with your iPad with other people's devices, then it will show that something is connected to your phone. So now I connect my phone, and once I do that, you'll be able to see that it's sharing my data. And you can see the little chains up there, and it's going to stay there as long as you're sharing your internet. And once you decide not to share your internet, it's going to go and collapse into itself like normal. Just like with the microphone, if you open the camera app, you can see the little green dot that indicates that the camera is being used. So now we have arrived to the music app. This also works with third-party applications. It will show you what is being played up top in the dynamic island. So I started the radio, for example, in Apple Music, and you can see the waveforms, you can see the logo of the radio channel. But if I go to Spotify, for example, and I start my own playlist, and here we have Eminem, and when I do that, it changes the color. So it's always the same color as the album art of the music that you're listening to, and it shows the waveform, it shows everything that you need to know that is happening around. Now, if I tap onto this, it'll put me back in the application. But if I long tap on it, it brings out the controls. So you can stop your music from here, you can press forward, you can put it to a different speaker, and you can see the album art, and actually you can scrub in the music as well. And then it'll collapse into itself and small, and if it's not being used, eventually it will go back to its small form. Now we have the stock applications. For example, the clock. Once you open up the clock and you set a timer, for example, 15 minutes, you can see how much time you have left from the timer and it shows it fully. Also, if you want to open your voice recordings and start a new voice recording, it's going to split the dynamic island into two parts and you can always see what is happening. You can see the voice over here and you can see the clock over here. Now, if I want to open a third application, for example, Maps, which is also dynamic island capable, that actually shows the directions and how many miles later you need to turn left or right, you can see it prioritizes this over the clock. And you can also switch between the applications up here. So if I go and tap on the side over here, it puts me back to the voice memos, then to the clock, and you can rotate between the applications. And then once you decide to close the application, it's not going to go back up there, and you're just going to be left with the two applications working. I go into the clock, I close this one as well, and then it's only the Maps application. And finally, if I close the Maps application, you can see everything goes back to normal. Screen recording got a little bit more fun because when you do a screen recording, it's going to count back from the dynamic island and it's going to show a little red dot indicating that you are recording everything. Now, the bad thing is that in the recording, you can actually see this. Also, if you tap on it, you can stop it right from here, tap on it again, and you go into the gallery where you can see what you have recorded as the scores. It should be coming sometime in October. Until then, this was all the animations that I could find in the dynamic island. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.